Thank you very much for joining me. How you been? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Steve Ranazizi. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Fucking lit. I'm the guy. Steve Ranazizi. Lit. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Fucking lit. I'm the guy. Steve Ranazizi. What's the odds? What's the odds? What's the odds?
Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, it's What's the Odds with Steve Ranazizi. We're back. Brenton, Lucas, me. Took a week off, getting our shit together. And do we have a lot to catch up on? Brenton, I've got a list of notes here that I want to share with you. Things that I went back and actually listened to make sure I had these things right. They weren't just thoughts up here that you directly said, and I believe it was on the last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, Jayden Daniels will be a failure. He is a failure. That is what you said.
That was a direct quote?
Yes, direct quote.
I said I haven't seen it yet. And it's still
haven't seen enough.
Okay. I'll let you go through this whole list,
he's
and then
not
we'll
the
go back
rookie
and
of the
address
year.
it one to one. Go ahead.
Not the rookie of the year. Yes, you might have been right that he's not the rookie of the year. He might end up being the MVP. Number two, the Bills were going to win not only the week that we talked about, but the week after. You said they were going to go on a run, that they were competing every single week, and this could be the best version of the Bills.
Now I feel like you're twisting my words completely. That wasn't what was said.
0-2. These were the sentiments given about. Okay, these were the feelings and the sentiments.
I think we said, and people can go back. I don't know what podcast you were listening to. It must not have been ours. But what was said was we were about to hit a very difficult run of games, and we were going to find out what this team really is. And I believe I had concerns about the defense, and a lot of that is coming to fruition. The defense is a young defense. They played well against some bad teams, and then they played some good teams, and they got exposed pretty hard. Although I will say they played the Texans pretty well. We can get to that game and break it down, but they played pretty well against the Texans.
The what? Define they. Who is they?
The defense.
The team?
The Bills defense played pretty well against the Texans.
Because I would say the overall team did not. Josh missed a couple throws. He had no idea.
The whole team didn't show up in the first half.
And then the coaching staff didn't show up.
And McDermott once again gave a game away.
Horribly.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's start with Jayden Daniels. Do you care to comment any further, or perhaps even offer an apology?
I'm not going to offer an apology to the man. I never said directly he would be a failure. I said that it's a small sample size, Steve. We're talking about, we're going into week 6. The first 2 weeks of the season, everyone just wants to forget about that. He did not look good. Yeah, he ran with the ball fine. He's a rushing quarterback. He did that thing. He ran fine. He threw horribly. I want to throw a stat at you that I think you'll love. Do you know who leads the league in on-target throw percentage? Which quarterback? Is it your guy, your future MVP, Jayden Daniels, the superstar?
What is it? Hold on. Say it again.
On-target throw percentage. So everyone is making a big deal about Jayden Daniels' completion percentage. The problem is
82%. Up until last week.
Third lowest passing attempts in the league right now. And he is 31st out of 32 in on-target throw percentage. Do you know who is in first place? You will never guess this.
Daniel Jones.
Daniel fucking Jones.
I was going to say, dude, look, I'm going to get to him. Trust me. He's on my list of fucking things to do. So he is not our problem. He is not our issue.
Is playing very well. He's playing very well, especially for a rookie, but it is a small sample size, and no one is giving credit to his offensive line because look at the rushing numbers. Look at his running backs. That team is being carried by that offensive line and the running backs right now, and Terry McLaurin's playing out of his mind. The receivers are making catches on poorly thrown balls that, for every one great pass where he drops a dime into Dwamie Brown's hands for a touchdown, he is also throwing passes that are being intercepted. He's throwing passes that are way off target. He's making rookie mistakes. He's playing very well, yes, but everyone is quick to anoint him going into week 6 that this guy is just a finished product and he's the MVP of the league. And it's way too small of a sample size.
Let me make another point. I think he has an advantage, and I'll say this. I think Cliff Kingsbury, who we've shit on many times on this podcast, but uh, has been really, really beneficial for several reasons. One, he's running the ball, like you said, more than almost anybody else. It's a very balanced offense. It's a very you can put 8 up in the box and he will beat you with his arm. You can sit back and try to and they'll run the ball. Or if they send the rush and he breaks the pocket, he's got the ability to do stuff. So there's a lot of advantages to that. But what you do have is you have a guy who maybe is just meant to be a great coordinator. Some guys are just meant to be coordinators. And Arizona, it wasn't necessarily he developed Kyler Murray pretty well. Most of the problems with Kyler Murray's development came from two things. One, his lack of ability to put the work in the first couple of years and do the stuff on his own that he needed to do. And there's a height thing. But anyway, overall, he made him into a pretty good quarterback. One that people really, like fantasy-wise, but I think that was it. I think he couldn't be the whole guy. He was trying to be too cool as a coordinator. And remember, he was supposed to. Everybody was saying he's going to go to Chicago. At one point, I think it was almost a done deal. Think about what you would have in Chicago. Look at the difference between the two guys. You have one quarterback who's naturally talented, unbelievably, but just sort of kind of doing his own thing and working and trying to win the games and trying to be the guy, and it's not working out as well. And then you have another guy who's playing within a system, a balanced system, where he doesn't have to be the guy, but when he wants to be and can be, he is able to be. And so therefore, I think the Kingsbury thing, him being there and not in Chicago, it's the big difference maker between the two guys right now, because there is no Jayden Daniels. I'm not saying that Caleb Williams is I think he's going to be a great quarterback too, but Jayden Daniels seems to be developing and coming along and handling things at a much greater rate than all the other guys.
Still very early though. I would say watching the last 2 weeks, Caleb Williams is starting to look a lot better. His offensive line was a big problem for the first part of the season. They're playing a little bit better. I would not be shocked if they go in. Well, they're going to play in London. I wouldn't be shocked if they just crush the Jaguars this weekend. He's looked good, and he has much better weapons than Jayden Daniels does. But look, Washington's got to play at Baltimore. He's going to play the best defense that he's played so far. They're going to throw looks at him that he hasn't seen before. So if he can have a great game this weekend, then yeah, I'll buy in. I'll say, okay, this guy is way ahead of schedule and he's playing great football, because the defenses he's played, they haven't been overwhelmingly great. Cleveland, I don't know what the fuck's going on in Cleveland. They should be way better than they are. And they started that game hot. The first two series, I believe they forced a turnover and they forced a 3-and-out. But I don't know what. Cleveland is so much more talented than what their record is. And I wouldn't be shocked if we have the Devontae Adams news going on that he's probably going to be going somewhere. I wouldn't be shocked if Cleveland starts selling off and you see like Amari Cooper maybe goes to Kansas City, or maybe Buffalo makes a play for Amari Cooper. And they just start hacking it in already, because it's a bummer, man. Cleveland, they should be 4-1. They should be 3-2 at least. And I thought they were going to give Jayden Daniels a lot more fits than they did. But again, the run
their game defense
hasn't
been as good as it's been in seasons past before.
No, Myles Garrett sounds pretty human right now.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at their schedule. Yes, this is probably the most. But look, the Ravens couldn't stop the Bengals last week.
But Joe, if you're telling me to pick between Joe Burrow and Jayden Daniels right now, I'm still taking Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T.
My
Higgins
point is
over
this, though.
McLaurin.
My point is this. My point is that great quarterback play can still beat or come close to beating the Ravens. You can get through the Ravens defense. This isn't a defense. This isn't Ray Lewis Ravens defense where they're going to pose the will.
Isn't.
You can beat their defense, and so I think this kid's good enough to do it.
But I'm just saying, like, the difference between Joe Burrow as he's been developed now versus Jayden Daniels is the Ravens can throw different blitz packages at him, and Joe Burrow has consistently been, top 3 quarterbacks against the blitz as far as being able to avoid it in the pocket, avoiding sacks, and getting rid of the ball. Like him and Chase, that's what they're best at. He gets blitzed, and Chase does the hot route thing and goes for a 65-yard touchdown. So I need to see it from Jayden Daniels. And then the other concern with him that I still have, because again, it's very early, is he's not the thickest quarterback. He's not Justin Fields or Josh
No.
Allen. He's running a lot. He's going to take hits. At what point does he, take a shot to the shoulder and now he's out for 3 games? And if he's going to run that much, he's
Brent,
exposing himself.
that's everybody. That's every single quarterback in the NFL almost at this point, unless you're fucking Joe Flacco sitting back there, with give me 3 seconds and I'll get rid of the ball. That's it. That's every quarterback now. Everyone's going out of the pocket. Your guy goes out of the pocket. Daniel Jones goes out. Everyone runs around now. So what I'm saying, based on the body of work and what he's able to accomplish and the throws that he's making and the style of it's almost the anti-Jets. What the Jets are, everything the Jets offensively is doing wrong, it's what the Commanders are doing right. They have a balanced run. They're going to run the ball. They're going to do that first. They're going to establish that so that everything opens up then. Then you can take a little bit off your quarterback. They're not making this kid do everything and be a Superman and win the games. They're doing it the correct way.
Yeah.
And look, as a Giants fan, I'm like,
credit
fuck.
to the offensive line.
Yes. And whoever's running that, they're doing a great job. And their run block schemes are great. And so, and I think, again, I think Kingsbury is the big difference. I don't know. You take him, you put him in Chicago. If they hired him in Chicago as if Eberflus had an offensive guy and they hired this guy, you might see a difference. I think that this guy might be a quarterback whisperer, and he's just turning guys into.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I fully agree with that, because he had Patrick Mahomes in college and had a losing record. So he's kind of very hit or miss. And again,
but that goes to head coaching, dude.
Early.
I'm talking about developing.
Third of the way in.
I'm talking about developing guys and making them into. Patrick Mahomes may not have had the proper tools around him in college, but when you developed him, whatever Kingsbury helped develop him into has been a very successful product. You know what I'm saying? Like Kyler Murray, under a lot of other circumstances, would be Bryce Young. He would have been undersized and out of the league by now, or not starting. Had he not had if Kingsbury's down in Carolina, which he's probably smart enough not to go down there, you never know, dude. I'm just saying this guy, I think, is a very, very good offensive mind coordinator, dude. Not built for the head coaching position, perhaps. Maybe under a little more time and a little more under his belt. But as far as what he's kind of building there and developing with Jayden Daniels, as a Giants fan, it's scary as shit. It's almost like if you see like someone developing, like if the Patriots had a guy that was going to develop Drake May and be like a Kingsbury to Drake May, that would be scary. And you saw it working, you'd be like, fuck, we're going to have this guy to deal with for the next 8, 10, 15 years,
They need a lot more. And the Commanders' defense needs a lot of work as well. So I think that's also helping Jayden Daniels, that he needs to, get into these shootout type of situations, and it's inflating numbers. So,
but as far as what they're doing this year, it's, look, this might not be the year.
It's completely unexpected and shocking, but it's still we're only going into week 6.
Yeah.
And if we're really, really breaking down the numbers and really looking at, aside from if you're just blindly looking at the box score and looking at stats and actually watching the games, if we really look at the tape for 5 weeks, 2 of those weeks are very bad. 3 of those weeks are solid to, oh, that was incredible. He had 2 incredible games, 1 good game, and 2 very bad games. So it's still very early to anoint him, but he is right now a front runner for MVP.
Do you want to do the Bills or the Giants first? What do you want to do? It's up to you. You've had a rough.
You know what?
That loss was bad.
The Ravens' loss was bad. The Texans' loss for the first half was atrocious. And then I was happy that they fought back in the second half and made it a competitive game. For how bad they played, they still should have ultimately won that football game. So, this team it's not there, it's missing a couple of pieces, and it's missing experience on defense. There were some mistakes. Bishop made some mistakes that were just like, what are you doing, man? Um, and Mac Hollins is
Can-
not. He's not a wide receiver one. We need to make a
yeah,
move
that
for Adams, or like I said, Amari Cooper is sitting out there.
this feels like these last 2 weeks feels like, especially with Shakir out last week, it feels like the first time you've missed Diggs, like that they've had an obvious hole of like
Well,
this is. And I'm not saying Diggs, but
if
that he was
Shakir
there.
if Shakir plays and the offense is intact from what it had been, then it's probably a little bit better. It looks a little better. Josh's numbers are a little better. They moved the ball better in the first half. It was just like you took away Diggs and Davis, you completely changed that room, and then you take your number one and he's out, and now it's like, who the fuck are you throwing to? You got a rookie on the outside. You got journeyman Mac Hollins who can't make an over-the-shoulder catch, which you would think these guys practice every day. That was a walk-in touchdown on, it was at the first or second drive where he had 5 steps on the safety and just
They did him no help. They did Josh
couldn't
Allen
pull
no
it in.
help.
But the offensive line has consistently played well. James Cook is kind of having a little bit of a breakout. Kincaid's been kind of quiet, but last year he was pretty quiet until Dawson Knox went down. So I think as long as they're running 2 tight end sets, like he's just not going to be that guy that catches 10 passes a game. So the offense, they need an alpha receiver. Hopefully they get it sooner than later. From if it's not this year, then next year we'll probably address that with all the draft picks and salary cap. Um, I don't think this is a Super Bowl team. I think I said that before the season started. I think we're still very competitive, and as bad as the Jets have been, it seems like this is our division to lose. And I don't think the Jets, even firing Salah, are going to figure it out.
We'll get to them.
But we got through, I think, for this 4-game stretch that's very difficult, we got through probably the 2 hardest games. And obviously we didn't win, but we're still above 500. We'll go into New York on Monday or go into New Jersey on Monday, and the Jets are going to be reeling from firing their coach. And I think we've seen what Rodgers is. He's kind of washed up. He can still throw the ball fairly well, but I don't know why they're not using Breece Hall. I don't know why they're not
I don't know
using
either.
Garrett Wilson more. They finally got into doing that. But there's obvious issues with the defense. There's issues with the offense. It seems like Rodgers' ego is kind of imploding that team. And
To
so,
me, it feels like, as far as the Bills, let me start with the Bills. I've looked the last 2 weeks, the Bills and the Steelers have almost kind of mirrored each other in my mind, where, and different for different reasons. Both they've lost 2 games in a row, both teams, but we're both like, oh, like surprisingly off to great starts, and everything seemed to be working. But the last 2 weeks, not so much the Steelers with their defense. The Steelers have problems where I believe, even though they have George Pickens, they could use like a Devon. If you look at what I watched a couple, none of their receivers win in their routes. Like
no.
even George Pickens. So, and the offensive line for the Steelers is not what it normally is. So it's been not so much Justin Fields. He's been kind of helping them out a little bit and trying to get the ball on time to people and stuff. But, between the offensive line and guys not winning routes, it's hard you got to make spectacular, throws every single time. It's hard to do. So I think both of them are missing a wide receiver one, a Devonta Adams away from,
Yeah.
you look at Neighbors, right? The Giants did definitely miss him this week, but you look at Neighbors and you say, man, this guy, like, how do you get the ball 19 times? Because he literally wins on every single fucking route, every single time he goes out there. There are times where George Pickens probably goes out there, wins on the first 2, but doesn't get looks. So he's like, well, this one, the third one, it's like, I'm not going to try as hard.
Yeah, he definitely takes plays off.
Yes, dude. And so you can't because you never know when you're going to get the ball. And so I feel like it shows when you have what, and I'm not saying Shakir's like that. He might not just be a wide receiver one. I feel like for Josh Allen and for Justin Fields, having a guy like Devon, who is going to win on your route, and you can get that ball, throw it in that area, and he's either going to catch it or he's going to, make sure they don't get it. And that's that's why he's paid the way he's paid, and will get what he probably will get.
Yeah.
Now the Jets, look, the Jets made this is a Woody Johnson it starts with him going off and becoming the ambassador to fucking England and not being around when they hired Robert Saleh. His brother hired Robert Saleh. So in his mind, this is not the guy that I chose. This is my team. When you start to have like a team that's not winning and everyone's starting to go, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? And they're all talking about Aaron Rodgers as though he runs the team. And so Woody Johnson's going to go, hey,
Doesn't he, though?
I don't give a. Well, yes, but the reason he runs it is because Woody Johnson has given him all the power. But Woody still knows he runs the team, so he's got to go out and fire Robert Saleh and not tell anybody he's going to do it. Now, I don't believe Aaron Rodgers called Woody Johnson up and said, you should fire Robert Saleh or anything like that. But it's sort of like the same thing with you when you have like, the way the dream team, the first dream team with Jordan, it's like Isaiah was not on a team. I don't think Jordan called up, Colangelo and said like, hey, it's either him or me. But you know how your star feels and you know what it's going to, you know what you wanted, and that you'll take care of it for him. The Jets became, because they have no identity. They used to have an identity, but they've lost it. They just want to win. That's not an identity. Winning is not an identity, not a culture. So what they've done is they've become a boyfriend chameleon where, someone starts dating someone and you just immediately start liking and doing everything that person does and you become that person. They started dating Aaron Rodgers and now they've done everything they can possibly do to make him happy and to not piss him off, because that's the only chance they have. And so you cannot fire Aaron Rodgers. You cannot fire Hackett, even though he's the person that should have been taken care of.
Yes.
Okay. And so you have to, if you're Woody Johnson, you have to get rid of someone. And the only number he has to really back up his point of doing it right now is that through 5 games this year and 5 games last year, they've scored the exact same amount of points, and they average 1 more yard a game. So really, but they've won more games because the defense is playing just as well as it did last year. Maybe not as well, but close to it, close enough. And he's a defensive guy. And if he tried to get rid of Hackett or maybe get the play called, to somebody else, then you got to go. Then you have to go. I think it's the best thing for Robert Saleh. But unfortunately for you guys, in the long run, Robert Saleh is going to be great. He will be a coordinator again, and then he might even be a head coach again. He might be the Kingsbury of defense. But unfortunately for the Bills, and where it comes down to is that these coaching changes, coordinator move ups. This is the coaches, the team guy. Everyone loves this guy. They usually pay off big the first week. And I mean, I think that the Jets are going to come out this week. Everyone is sort of playing for their jobs. And I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers feels that pressure, but he knows that like now the weakest link, whatever the weakest link was, one got cut off. So now who is the next one up? It might be you or it might be your boy. But if things don't work out anymore, then, there's no more scapegoats. That's the only move they can play. And so it's all going to be, everything is squarely on his shoulders now. And so I think because of that, they're going to be playing like it's the Super Bowl. The playoffs start now for the fucking Jets. And, let's see what that means. They might run out there and Hackett might do the same bullshit.
Well,
everyone get to the line, quiet down.
It was announced this morning Hackett's no longer calling the plays.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the former Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator, he's now the guy.
Okay. Well,
let me find
that's
his
bad
name.
news for you guys.
Schefter.
Yes.
So Todd Downing is now the team's new play caller.
Yeah. Well, that's bad news for the Bills
I don't know if it
because
necessarily is. I feel good about this week. Shakir didn't practice yesterday. I don't feel good about that. We definitely need him, or we need to
yeah,
make a move this early in this week to get somebody. T. Higgins is also another guy that's on that list of
they're
he's
not getting
franchise tagged, and
the best thing the best thing that can happen for you is the Giants win this weekend because then you got to go. All right, well, we obviously got to. We're not making the playoffs. I mean, they'd have to win. They'd be 0-5, right? Or 1-5, I think. So it's over.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. I
it,
don't
they,
know.
they it,
I don't know if they would give up that fast, considering
well, if they're not going to
they're
give
not
up
going
that,
to catch
they're not getting hit.
Baltimore, but they could. The Browns are browning, and the Steelers are not that far ahead of them. That I think they'd still play out the season. But yeah, the Bengals defense is in shambles, so they're probably not going to turn this around.
I just think that if the Jets now they're gonna do stuff that they don't normally do. So now if you're the Bills, you don't really know what to plan for. You probably were kind of zoning in on the fact that they're gonna run the Hackett offense where we're gonna have to,
Well,
disguise a little bit. Aaron Rodgers is gonna stare us down and try to fucking eye chicken us out of fucking, doing the wrong thing.
yeah,
And
I
that's
think
not gonna be what you're gonna see this week.
most of the time, most teams, most situations, you're right. But Aaron Rodgers is a fucking egomaniac psycho. So I still think it's just going to be whatever
Yeah,
he
but they're
wants
gonna
to
run the
do.
ball and it's gonna be the Hall and Allen show. And
Well, if it's the Hall and Allen show, then I like the Bills' chances. If it's just Brees Hall and they do the right thing and feed arguably the second best running back in football, which they haven't been doing, then yeah, I feel a little bit worse about that because the Bills can't stop the run. Um, I think a lot will be told by the second or third series. If the Bills are getting stops and Rodgers gets frustrated, then we're probably going to win the football game. If the Jets can go down and get points 2 out of the first 3 series, then yeah, we're probably not going to win that game. But I still like our chances. Vegas likes our chances. We're the favorite going in. If Shakir is healthy, I think we win the game.
um yeah, Shakir being healthy would be. I mean, he did look a little lost, Josh Allen. Like, who am I throwing the ball to?
That, and did
Uh,
Josh suffer concussions in 2 consecutive weeks and no one's talking about it, nor did they really check on him? That trick play that they ran against the Ravens, he hit his head pretty hard against the ground, and they didn't check on him. And then this past week, another play where he just like hit his head, and then he kind of looked lost on the sideline, or he looked like, I don't know. I don't. You could describe it as he like didn't either know he was there or didn't want to be there. He just didn't seem like himself. So I'm wondering if there was some kind of, if not a concussion, some kind of head injury, and that concerns me, and no one's talking about it.
I didn't think they were allowed to do that anymore. I thought it was like even if you show any
Same
sort of
shit.
signs, you got
It
taken
happened to
away
Joe
by
Burrow
a
too.
doctor.
Joe Burrow, he took a hit and seemed like he was dazed. And maybe it's just a case by case basis. Like, hey, did you see they took out our center twice? Like they took him out. They said it looks like he may be concussed. He went and did the thing with the doctor on the sideline. They took away his helmet until they cleared him. They gave him his helmet back, and he went back out. Before they even ran the play, they called down
They
again and
did
said,
it.
"Get him back out."
They did it to Drake
So
London too on the Thursday night game. He
I
was
think
in the first couple. He caught a touchdown. He got
maybe
hit, and
it's
then
it's like, hey, if it's a franchise quarterback, let's not fuck this game up, because we saw how bad it was last year when a bunch of backups played. If
well,
it's anyone else, get them off the field. But if
speak.
it's franchise guys, let's just leave them out there and see what happens.
Speaking of franchise guys, did you see Deshaun Watson just jog off the field instead of going for the fourth down like his coach wanted him to?
Yeah, I thought that was addressed though. I thought that
What,
they,
yeah, could someone explain it? Because that's where I left it off. I don't even
yeah,
want to know what
Lucas,
the problem.
if you could try to find that, I thought that it
Who,
was a situation where um they weren't going to go for it because something happened. I don't know if it was like a pre-snap penalty or just, I don't know. It wasn't him quitting. I know it was
you sure?
addressed and it wasn't him. Yes, it wasn't him
Because
quitting.
the coach was just started shaking his head and looked at him and he just walked off the field. So
no, I think it
Oh,
was
there it
they
is.
had 12 men in
12
the
men on the
huddle.
field.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 12 men.
It was 12 men on the field, and they were going to get a penalty anyway. So they scrapped going for it. And Stefanski was not upset at him quitting. He was upset that there were 12 guys out there.
got it. Okay.
So that being
Well,
said,
either way,
Watson is washed, and it's
he might be
disappointing.
silently quitting. Remember that fucking silent quitting when people just
Yeah,
they didn't really quit, but they
I
just
mean,
kind of
he's
didn't do
still getting his
anything?
money, unless the new allegations come to fruition and he gets charged, and the Browns can get out of that contract. He's still going to get his money. But yeah, I don't think we're past the point of hoping that he becomes what he was, and maybe he can just kind of be a guy that can do enough to keep you in games. But he's definitely, like, we can put him to
Yeah.
bed. He's not ever going to reach that level again.
Damn, dude. What a shit show the Browns. I mean, all that money. That's got to be the biggest contract bust in probably maybe professional sports.
Well, let's let Jordan Love play. Well, no, I shouldn't say Jordan
Come
Love.
on, dude.
Jordan Love has
Jordan Love's
potential.
already won a playoff game or two for the team.
Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence could end up
He's
being the
won a
worst.
playoff game too.
Wow, the Chargers shit down their leg and
The
gave it
Browns
back to them.
haven't even been to the playoffs, bro. No, they did. They go.
Yeah,
they went
did.
last year because
Yeah.
Flacco got him there.
Still counts.
Does Salah get a ring if the Jets go on to win the Super Bowl this year?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, 5
Right?
games, he should.
I'm reading right here that there's been 37 coach firings midseason since 2000. Out of those teams, 27% winning percentage was a record before being fired. After firing the coach, the team's record went up to 39%. And then the very first game after firing their coach, those squads won 43% of the time.
43%. Now, wait,
that still favors
that sounds
the
like,
Bills.
oh, still favors the Bills. But think about this. What was the percentage to win before the game? They were probably only like 10 or 12% to win the game. Yeah. And it went up 13% in one direction because of one thing. That's a big, what they would call in the gambling world, like one of those big like factors, weather, this, that, home, dome, this and that. Speaking of domes, do you see fucking Tampa?
Yeah, it's too bad. Hope everyone down there's
that place. Oh yes. No, Tampa's awesome. That stadium's a dump, and that's the best thing that's ever happened to it, that fucking roof got ripped off of it. I mean, it is a dump.
Is that the stadium that always looks slanted from outside? Or am I thinking
probably. I mean, from inside, it looks like you're in like they build these kids sports. They're like bubbles, bubbles for the fucking winter, and they have like a little heater in there. That's what it looks like. You're in a bubble. It hits the balls hit into scaffolding. You got to be fair balls, foul balls. They did the ceiling white, the same color as the fucking ball, which it's like, what are you doing, guys? People would lose the balls and the lights. It was a dump. It's a dump. They had the AstroTurf. It's like maybe now it's an insurance claim, right?
Yeah.
Like if your roof gets ripped off during a storm, your insurance, if you have it, obviously will cover it. I wonder if they have insurance on the stadium. Do they got a new roof?
I have to imagine they do.
Yeah. Like make it nice now. You got a chance to fucking, this is spin it positive into a negative into a positive. I'm glad that, first of all, that there's no games down there that would fuck up the whole playoff schedule. And, it's as far as state, like it's probably the one I would have picked if this could have happened to a stadium. It's the dumpiest of dumps. It really is, dude. But of course,
did you also witness the Metrodome snow giving in, or were you there?
No, I was there. I was there like a week or two before.
Okay.
We went. They invited us when we were doing the show, the league, and so we went there and we kicked field goals before the game for charity, and then we sat in Ziggy Wolf's box, which had tubed TVs. I'll never forget. John LeJoie and I were like tube, like the TVs were not flat screens. They had they were like anchored into like They looked like like what you would find in like an old hospital. Like if you go into like, like big fucking tubed in the back, brackets around them and shit. You'd have to change the channel with like that. It was
It was
insane.
that old. It was a tube TV. Yeah, it wasn't like a retro cool. Like,
no, dude. It was that.
Okay.
Like those were the TVs and that was the owner's suite. We were in the owner's suite. I mean, it was a total, and then like 2 weeks later, the fucking roof collapsed. But yes, this is one of those great signs from God. Like maybe it's time for fucking. But hopefully now, I'm hoping they fuck the insurance company the way they try to fuck everybody else. Make the insurance company pay for a new fucking roof. That's it. Act of God, man. The baseball playoffs have been great. I went to game 2 for the Yankees the other night. And it was, first of all, I got a dude, listen to this. Already got us right on the wall in right field, like slap down, touch the wall. Like if guys were coming up to try to catch the ball, we were right there. So in between innings, 3rd and 4th inning, I think, Soto was warming up with Judge, turned around, looked right at me, right, but threw it over my head. Thank God the guy 2 rows behind me wasn't paying attention. It hit right off of him, boom, right into my hands. Turned around, I was like, yes. I think I might have been on television, I'm not sure, but yes, I was like, yes. I was so excited, dude. It's not a foul ball, but it's still a ball. I got a fucking ball, dude, from Soto. From Juan Soto, dude. Him and Judge throwing it back and forth. It was awesome. The game did not work out. Rodon is like, he was like JoJo the circus idiot the first inning, dude. He pitched so hard and he was like so animated. And then, just one bad inning. And what happens is it's the same thing. The formula to winning in the playoffs is almost very simple. Great pitching, great starting pitching, even better bullpen. You need an lights out bullpen, and you need to hit with 2 outs. Every single team that wins the Mets, 2 outs, 2 outs, 2 outs. The other night, the Royals beat us. Perez led off, hit a home run. But the other 3 runs, 2 out runs. 2 out runs are the fucking killer. We got 3 of them last night. Stanton hit a 2 out fucking bomb. Stanton hit it. I mean, like, he was our guy last night.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's on Judge. And guess what? It's just going to continue. It's not going to go away. The only way it goes away is when he has a breakout game. And he will. But what has to happen is everyone else has to continue to lift and play well when he's not playing well. Because the more you do that, the better the more games we will win and the longer we will play in the playoffs. And I will guarantee you that this will not, if we go on to the AL, this is not going to continue. He's not going to go 0 for 1,000. He's going to have a game and then hopefully more games after that where it just is fucking, and he's got the ability to carry a fucking team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, you need to buy a little more time. It's not going to go away. It's the biggest conversation going on right now between Rodgers and him. It's like the battle of the Aarons. Who's having a worse time right now? It really is crazy. It's like a fucking soap opera in New York. But Aaron Judge will be fine. He's not a guy that's only built for the regular season. Okay? It's not like he doesn't know how to hit the ball in the postseason. It's just the way it goes sometimes, the way it happens. He hit the ball hard last night a couple times, which feels great. Last night was a huge fucking win. Huge. And now I just want to make sure that Cole takes care of business tonight so that we don't have to go back and watch Rodon and try to fucking get him through another game, even though I already bought tickets. And I don't want to say anything, but I've gone to the last 3 years, last games where we've been eliminated every single year. And of course, I have tickets to Game 5 on Saturday night.
Well, hopefully you won't have to use them.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I really hope I don't have to use them. That's going to be best case scenario.
Yeah.
Because I just can't have it again. The last 3 years I brought Jonah, we fucking lost. It sucks. It really does. Anyway, what What else? Yeah, no,
Oh, we didn't really touch on the Giants. I
oh,
want to give you props. You were on them a couple weeks ago when they won. That was against Cleveland, which I don't think Lucas or I thought that was possible.
yep.
But the last two wins that they've had, it's been impressive. They could not have started the game worse, where they had like what was it, the fumble on the kickoff.
I
You
mean,
had
first of all, you
bad
have a
turnovers, you
10-minute
had
drive.
teams driving down the field, and yeah, this one you had the amazing best drive of the season, and then you fumble at the goal line and the Seahawks run it back for a touchdown. Like things could
And
not go worse at the start. And this is I mean, they're not a talented team, but they're resilient as fuck. They're finding ways to
yes,
win.
the fact that they didn't fold, especially because they didn't have, Neighbors or Singletary. I mean, Singletary is considered a fucking playmaker at this point, which is not
But
great, but
we
that's
got
what
to
we
see
have.
Tracy show out. That was fun.
Tracy played great. And so and they made it work. And look, Daniel Jones, when given time, is a good quarterback. He has a
Yes.
great arm.
Thank you.
He throws the ball well when he has time and knows where
He
to
is
throw the ball and
leading the
has
league
options.
on target percentage. That means he is
So
making good throws.
again, I'm not saying he's our guy. I'm just saying we are competitive in all these games. Theoretically, we could be 4-1. If we had a kicker
Yeah.
and something else one week happened, we fucked it up. That we got blown out by we were not ready to go week 1 against the Vikings. But other than that, we've been competitive in every single game. More fun to watch, a little more, anxious because at some point they're going to blow it probably, but it's, they're staying in the game. They're competing.
Yes.
And that's good.
Yes.
And so I think this week they are poised for an upset.
Well,
I really do.
I wouldn't disagree with you, but you won't have Thibodeau, and that sucks.
Yep. And we might not have Neighbors, but they said he might play. He probably will play, but who knows? Thibodeau.
He wasn't at practice yesterday, which is not good. He
Yeah.
needs to get at least 1 or 2 full practices into clear protocol. But you for sure won't have Thibodeau, and that's going to give Burrow a lot more time to do what Burrow does.
Yep. I'm hoping that
But
somebody else
you
on
need
that.
Neighbors.
Yeah. Yes. It would be better to have Neighbors in there offensively. I just feel like I don't know. I'm hoping that they can stay with them and if keep it close and probably end up getting a win. They can get a win at home. That would be huge. Now
Bengals defense is very beatable.
Yes. I believe that they can keep up and score points, but without Thibodeau, and now I'm not saying Thibodeau's end all. I would out of all the guys, out of Burns, Thibodeau, and Dexter Lawrence, he'd be the guy to pick not to have if I had to pick one.
Sure.
So there's other guys that we could do some damage with, but Joe Burrow's fucking Joe Cool, dude, and especially in like nationally televised games,
and his back's against the wall. They have to win this game. This is to your point with the Jets. This is the Bengals Super Bowl as well.
Yep.
Because if they don't win this game, they're fucked.
I like I said, I like what the Giants when they run it's a balanced offense when they're moving the ball, giving Daniel Jones some time to throw it. A couple screen passes look nice. It just you're changing things around, and so staying in the game. And then that 10-minute drive, although it ended up disastrous. It was like, oh, this is what we can do: have a good defense and then control the clock and keep these games close and get a fucking win.
Yeah.
When you don't have the most talented team, when you're not like, hey, we're gonna go fucking, you guys do whatever you want. We're gonna go run the scoreboard up. This is how you have to win. This is how the Patriots won when they didn't have the most talented teams ever. This is how you grind it out and you find a way to get the ball last and fucking win.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the Giants are doing more of this year. So step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I'm excited.
Dable's job is probably safe-ish for the time being.
I mean, who would have thought you would have thought he would have been fired before Saleh.
Absolutely.
The way, especially the beginning of the season, But yeah, no, it was a good win. I honestly I expected them to lose even towards the very end. The blocked field goal was unbelievable
That was
because I go,
incredible.
if we go
What
to
a way to
overtime,
end the
we're gonna
game.
lose this fucking game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know it. I know we're gonna lose it in overtime. But the blocked field goal felt like, wow, holy shit, we did it, And so it's great. But I'm not disappointed in Daniel Jones, and I'm happy when things are working correctly. That doesn't happen that often for the Giants. So hopefully it can happen this week. Do you guys want to get to some picks?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have a couple games I'm looking at, but look, out of respect, I'm not going to take the Jets, even though I will personally. But out of respect,
go ahead and bet on the Jets. See how
no,
that
I don't
works
want
out
to
for
do.
you.
I'm going to do it
On your own.
I
If
don't
you're
want it
gonna
to be
do it on
part
your
of our
own, go
thing.
ahead. Yeah, it doesn't
No,
need to
because
be part of our thing, but
I have
go ahead
other
and
games
bet on the
that
Jets
I'm
on your
interested.
own and see how long you keep your house.
I'm not saying every week. I'm saying this fucking week, Brent.
I still think the Bills are in position. I think the Jets are kind of in disarray, and Rodgers
Uh-oh.
is not what people were hoping he would be.
DraftKings is down. We are aware of some customers experiencing issues on bets, working to resolve this soon. Well, that's not good enough. Holy shit. I can't look at the lines.
Yeah, that was as of 3 hours ago, according to
What the fuck?
their Twitter customer support page.
What
So I can give you the Bet DSI lines.
yeah, I guess we'll have to use that shit box.
So we're not touching the game tonight, right?
What's this?
Seahawks are plus 3.5 at home.
No, okay. Go ahead.
I wasn't gonna say. I was just commenting on that. I don't think we touch that game because it's a division
No,
game.
but if I did have to choose, I'd say the Niners because they need it more, and the Seahawks did not look great on Sunday, and coming off a short week.
Both these teams are pretty banged up. Neither defense has been great. Geno Smith is quietly leading the league, and I think he's leading the league in touchdown passes or at least passing yards. Like he's crushing. The new coach and coordinator, they are just airing the ball out. So I think this could be a shootout. Over-under's at 49. It's one of the highest totals of the week.
We'll leave it alone.
Yeah, it's the second highest total. So, it should be a great game tonight, but I don't think 49ers just walk away with it.
Can you give me the bet DSI line on the game I like? I like the Commanders over the Ravens getting 6.5.
It's 6.5 on here as well. Ravens are giving 6.5, but
I will take them with the points. Personally, I might go with the money line, but give them the points for the best value of what we can get for.
I think Vegas sees what I see, and we're not ready to anoint Daniels just yet. I need to see it this week against the Ravens, and then going forward, I will go, okay, this is the guy. I still need to see it again.
I'm thinking if Gardner Minshew can chew up the fucking Ravens, then let me see what fucking Daniels can take care of.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought.
Not bad, but I think the Ravens are going to win handedly. I think Daniels will struggle this game. But I'm not calling him a failure, Steve. I didn't call him a failure.
Hold on. Let me write this down right now so I don't.
Yeah, get the quote right.
Daniels will struggle. Yes,
I never call him a failure. I think he's going to struggle this week.
Daniels will struggle.
And it's bullshit if we come back, the Commanders lose by 10 points, but Daniels had a 40-yard run and a 35-yard run and rushes for 2 touchdowns, but then only throws like 11 completions and they lose by 10.
I love how you have to
not a good game.
Qualify all of this. What is a good game? What is a fucking bad game? How about he's going to take the team and keep it within 6.5 points so I can win the fucking bet? Huh?
I hope that happens. That happens. We need winners this week.
We do need winners. How about you pick a fucking winner for once?
The Texans are going to beat the Patriots. We know that. 6.5. They should handle them, even with Nico Collins on IR. Just means that Diggs and Tank Dell are going to get more.
Now you do have Drake May starting.
Drake May starting. That doesn't mean anything yet.
Nope.
He doesn't have anyone to throw to. It's not like Jalen Polk is going to go for 10 and 200 and 3 touchdowns. So I think that's a safe pick. The spread is too big with Philadelphia. They're giving 10 points hosting Cleveland. Philly should win that game, but 10 points is a lot. I like the Steelers -3 going into Vegas. Vegas isn't necessarily going to have home field advantage because it seems like that field's pretty neutral when you get popular teams. So it's going to feel like a home game for Pittsburgh. And it doesn't matter if Russell Wilson starts or Justin Fields. The defense is going to chew up Aiden O'Connell. You don't have Devontae Adams again this week. You probably don't have Zamir White. I think Pittsburgh -3. That's my pick. I think they bounce back and they win pretty.
I like
handily.
that. They should, and I believe in them, and I believe in Tomlin.
Tomlin's not going to lose 2 in a row, especially
3 in a row.
It'd be 3. Oh yeah, he's not going to lose 3 in a row. They should have beaten Dallas. That was shocking.
Yes.
For how
God,
banged up Dallas's defense was, that was kind of
that's what I'm
shocking.
saying. They can't run the fucking ball, dude. They could have just run the ball and just won the game.
Yeah.
I like that pick though, which means it's not going to work. All right. Go ahead, Lucas. What do you got?
I like Green Bay to cover over Arizona. I have it at 5.5. It's in Green Bay.
We got it at 5 on BetDSI.
Oh, even better.
Even better.
Yeah.
Take
Why? What do you like about Green Bay? I mean, not that I disagree, but I'm sort of, I don't know. I'm on the fence. Because for some reason, I feel like the Cardinals travel well. They play decently on the road.
Do they travel well? Though I agree that they're like 3-10. Like I don't know.
But maybe not winning the games, but against the spread. I'm saying like they keep it close.
Right. Well, the other one I'm looking at is Atlanta over Carolina. I have that at 6.
Yes, that is also at 6. I mean, that's a pretty safe pick as well. Although these in division games, the division games, they're usually played tighter than, especially in the NFC South. It seems like those are always just fights to the death.
Well, and Atlanta's will have what 10 or 11 days off since last playing,
and they are playing pretty well. They've got momentum. This is probably the week that Bijan Robinson completely smashes.
All right, well, let's take the Falcons, and then I'll be prepared for them to fuck us this week and be the one game we lose.
And meanwhile, Green Bay wins by 40.
Just blows them out.
Okay, so we have the Commanders +6.5. We have the Steelers -3 and the Falcons -6. $50 is going to net us 209.
Fuck. I try to guess.
$290.69.
69 cents. That's right. We fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
69 cents. What are you going to do with that? I also put $100 on the Bucks to win the Super Bowl. I like the way they played the other night. And I think it's
the Buccaneers?
Yeah, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You put $100 on them to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah. At 885 to 1, dude. Okay.
Did you do it through DraftKings Sportsbook?
I did.
Okay, as a shareholder, I thank you for your contribution.
Okay, great.
Because that is
all they have to do.
The Bucks are not winning the Super Bowl.
All they have to do is make the playoffs. Okay, and I believe that they will make the playoffs. And I believe that there's no team in the NFC that's like running away. There's no dominating. There's no team this year, dude. You're not betting against like the fucking guys.
I mean, the Vikings seem to be running away with stuff right now. We'll see if that's sustainable, but they're absolutely running away with stuff. They're winning games that they should have been blown out in. They look incredibly impressive, and I still would not. I wouldn't bet against the Lions. They're built to go to the playoffs and win in the playoffs, even if they're not 5-0 right now. They're built to get to the postseason and win.
Didn't Tampa beat the Lions this year?
Yeah, but the Lions beat Tampa in the playoffs.
What?
The Lions beat Tampa in the playoffs. That's when it matters.
Great. You get nothing from the 85.
The Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season all the time, but then when we get to the postseason, we shit the bed. It doesn't matter what you do in the regular season if you don't move on.
Well, let me tell you, if I have an 85 to 1 chance, and then then you get to the playoffs, all of a sudden that looks like a pretty good fucking bet.
Fine, but can I say something that is
Go.
going to put a dagger in your heart?
New Orleans Saints, what?
No, you're now putting your faith in Baker Mayfield.
I'm in. I like it. That guy's a fucking baller, dude. He's
I like those
kicked
odds
around
too.
and shit. Yeah, dude. I'm taking it. Oh, just you wait, Brenton. Mr.
Okay.
Fucking know-it-all.
All right.
Every week you get fucking shown up on this thing, dude. I'm gonna start fucking handing out some receipts. I gotta start writing shit down more. Anyway,
But
you got it right.
down. You wrote it down, and it was completely incorrect. It wasn't what I said.
I was so pissed when you said
skewed it.
I listened to it again. I just went like dumb shit.
You skewed it though. I did not
dumb
say
shit.
at any point that Jayden Daniels was a failure. I said
You said he was like, yeah.
It's 4 games at that point. It was 4 games. We have to see more of it before we just anoint the Bills gave JP Losman, wasn't it a massive extension, like 5 or 6 games into the season because he had
here's one thing. You won't
and
win
then
the
we
rookie
lost
of the
6
year.
straight games.
I said he was the offensive rookie of the year. You said not a chance. He's not the offensive rookie of the year. I wrote that down.
It's 5 games in.
Okay. That's a third of the season almost. And he's the rookie of the year, if not the MVP. So don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about.
We'll see.
Anyway, I love you guys. And I can't wait to see you next week and talk to you when the Yankees are in the ALCS firmly beating the Detroit Tigers. Because give me a break, dude. If we can't beat the fucking Tigers.
Well, you got to beat the Royals first.
You know what?
It's not over yet. You got to beat the Royals first. Don't just count that as a win.
I understand
they have
that.
a very great chance to do that tonight.
Yep, and they will. But don't jinx it. Okay, thank you.
I'm not jinxing it. You're jinxing it by saying, "Oh, we gotta play the Tigers."
You're the fucking jinx, Brenton.
And the Tigers haven't closed out the Guardians yet. They still have to close that series.
No, they're gonna close it out, dude. The Tigers are.
But we'll see.
That's the podcast for this week. We will see you and talk to you next week when all my wishes have come true, and when you win $289.69 or
$290.69.
$290.69 with going with us and our picks because we got good ones this week. I believe in us. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Thank you very much for joining me. How you been? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Steve Renazizi. I'm the guy.